Hi everyone, this is Linda. This is Linda with lindasueplantsforyou. And welcome back. Today is the magic day. Today we end the quarantine. Now I could have done this on Saturday, but I wasn't able to. Saturday or Sunday, and I wasn't able to. So I'm doing it today. But before we do the big reveal, I just wanted to touch. I have a friend that's dying to see my Pinguicula that I ordered. I didn't do an unboxing because, as you can see, she's very tiny. But she's so cute, isn't she? This is a succulent plant that it actually eats insects. And the reason that well, first of all, I sent away for it, and it cost me $20 with plus $7 shipping, so $27 for that little guy. But after doing a lot of research, I realized that they're very, very fast growers, so I'm hoping that my investment will have paid off. They do eat bugs like thrips and fungus gnats, especially anything that gets near them. They have a sticky substance on the leaves, and it will, if the bug lands on it, it's done. And eventually it absorbs the bug and gets its protein, I guess, from that, and that's how it ends their life cycle. So I'm excited to see what's going to happen with this. I have her in sphagnum moss, and I just have the roots are just barely touching the sphagnum because we want to keep the roots wet. The root system on here, and I really don't want to disturb it, but they're very, very, very tiny. So they're kind of fragile, as is the plant itself. So it came in this container, and it was wrapped in it was completely covered in sphagnum moss, and then it had a cover on here, and that's how it came in the mail. So I just wet the sphagnum and took some of it out and made a little mound there and stuck her on top of that so that she doesn't I'm very worried that the bottom leaves are going to rot, so I'm trying to be really careful with that. And then this container I just had, so I put a little water in, and I did have it higher, but this is staying pretty wet, so I'm going to just keep it probably at this level. And then I have it near my Mars Hydro Light, Grow Light. And she is getting new leaves in the middle there already. So she's doing well. And I will update you on her down the road. Hopefully she's going to multiply like they say she does. And I will have a bug-eating plant in my house. And I should say, the reason I ended up ordering her, I thought she was so beautiful, her coloring. And my husband, every time he goes with me, I should say takes me to go look for a plant, he gravitates towards the bug-eating plants, oh, I forget the name now, but you guys know what I'm talking about. The Venus flytrap and what we used to call a pitcher plant. I forget the proper name for that, in Nepenthes or something like that. I forgot. And I had a huge one, and she was beautiful. In fact, I've yet to see one like the one that I had years ago. And I kept her alive for about 2 years, and then for some reason I lost her. She just started drying up, and I think I didn't have enough humidity or enough bugs. And at the time, someone told me I should be going to the pet store and getting flies or something and sticking them in there, but I wasn't able to do that. So I don't know exactly what the reason was why I lost her, but she was a little bit high maintenance for me, so when she died, I didn't replace her. But my husband keeps going towards these Venus flytraps and things, and I really don't care for those plants. I had those in my store many years ago, and I really just didn't care for them. And they weren't very reliable either, so I think that they just required a lot more as far as care and humidity and environment than the Pinguicula. So that's why I went this route. And I told him, I said, I will get one of these and I will grow it up. And these make babies, so I'm going to make a bunch of babies and I'm going to put them all over the house. And then hopefully that will resolve our issue. Although we don't have a current bug issue, which is awesome. And so that's going to lead me to my next. I got these 14, 15, 16 days ago. I purchased these. And you will get to be with me when I do the big reveal. And here it is. Drum roll, please. You should know that there is nothing going on inside this bag. I inspected it almost daily, very thoroughly. And as I said once before, after what I went through with these thrips, there's not a plant coming in this house that isn't going to be quarantined, because I don't ever want to have to deal with that problem again. So, and years ago, this is what I did for, 10 to 14 days in a bag, in a medium to bright light, so they get their light, and keep it sealed, because if there is anything that's going to hatch, it's going to stay in the bag. And then I'm not introducing it to my whole world of plants here, because I have many. One of the problems with this is, and I'm going to show you that right now, I got a little bit worried about my Zebrina, Calathea. And let me just look on the bottom of this bag here just to make sure I don't see anything. And I don't see any signs of any insects. Now she's wet. She's heavy. She was watered. I watered her when I got her home, and she's still got a lot of water in her. And I can see a little bit of browning here on the edges. I do see a spot here that I'm not liking. This could be a sign of, this could be fungus, it could be thrips, and actually this looks like it might be old thrip damage. I can see the line in the leaf. So I don't know if she had thrips at one time. There is nothing, like I said, there's nothing in the bag. And I have not opened this bag since I got her. So I think she's going to be okay. I'm just looking at the bottom of the leaves here, and I'm not seeing anything. Some of the telltale signs of thrips are, you'll see like lines. Also, they like to go in this part of the leaf right here. They go in the crux of the leaf, and they go in new, here's one right here. I got a new shoot right here. You see that? So I'm going to keep a close eye on her, and although she's out of the bag, I am not going to put her in with my other Calatheas or Calatheas just yet. I'm going to keep her on my little table by me and hope that she's good. Now I know that thrips can lay eggs, or their eggs can hatch up to 14 days, and today would be the 16th day. So I'm assuming we're okay here. I hope I'm okay. I'm feeling pretty confident about it, but it does look like I said, like she did have, and this doesn't necessarily mean she does have thrips, but folks, if you've been following me and saw what I've just been through, you would understand my fear and my somewhat paranoia now over this. But you can see on the back of this leaf, hopefully, do you see that line there? That's from the bugs sucking the juice out of the leaf. And this spot here also can be from that, because what they do is they suck the juice out, and they oftentimes leave a ring. It starts out brown, and then it gets yellow around it like a fungal spot would be. So it's hard sometimes to tell, am I dealing with fungus, you know, fairly harmless fungus that I can treat with a fungicidal spray, or am I dealing with something else? The other thing that they like to do when they start working on a plant is to turn the outside of the leaves, the outside edge of the leaves, get yellow, get brown, and then it starts yellowing from the outside in. But this brown here, I believe, is from being in the bag. I don't think it's, because I don't see any other signs on the leaves themselves. I don't see any poop marks on the back. They will leave their little feces on the backs of leaves too, and it'll look like tiny little pieces of pepper, little black spots, like if you shook black pepper on your plant. I don't see any of that either. So I really am not seeing any symptoms at all, other than that one leaf. So I'm pretty sure we're good to go. And we're just going to leave her as is. Now at some point, I may take a very sharp scissors and just trim the edge of this off. But I may or may not do that. I like to do it just for the aesthetics of the plant, but sometimes you can harm a plant when you do that, because if you're not, even if you are completely sterile with your cutting tool, sometimes you can introduce bacteria that way. At least that's what I've learned through research. I've never experienced that myself, but there's always a first time. So I really don't want to do that with her. She is so, so beautiful. Her leaves are like velvet. And I can't wait to grow her up and have a big, gorgeous, beautiful plant. They do like a little higher humidity than some other Calatheas. I think I read that they like anywhere between 50 and 80%. Well, that's a pretty big range. And I think I read somewhere where they'll do very well at 60%, but super thrive at 80. So we'll see what happens. My house is never going to be 80% humidity. That's not good for me or my furniture, or might be good for some plants, but it's not good for me. So I'm going to I try to keep the humidity as high as I can, and right now it's hovering between 55 and 62%, which is perfect for this plant as far as keeping her alive and her being okay and growing new shoots. But I suppose if I want her to grow really fast and really big and huge and beautiful, I'd have to up that a little bit. But the only way to do that is to run humidifiers, and I'm ventured to say that in another month we're going to have our air conditioning running. So at that point I may have to run my humidifier a little bit just to keep her humidity up. So that's what I'll do. But isn't she pretty? I'm just in love with her. I think she's so, so pretty. And she's got quite a few shoots too. I mean, I'm counting 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, at least 5, maybe 6. Another one looks like it might be starting new shoots. So those will all be separate plants at some point if I wanted to subdivide it and share it with my family. But I don't know that they would want one, so we'll see. But anyway, there she is, my Zebrina Calathea. So pretty. Okay, let's put her aside. I could just sit and stare at her all day. Alright, and here is my Black Star Sansevieria. I mean Black Gold Black Star. I hope I didn't say that before. Black Gold, that's her name. And she is very healthy. She's got some very sturdy leathery leaves. And just look at the color on her. Isn't it beautiful? And she's got a bunch of new shoots coming up around the bottom. Hopefully you can see that. And so I'm going to have to make room for her. I have a table, a side table, where I have all of my my Sansieverias. Well, I don't have all that many, but I have a number of them. And I'm going to be doing a video on that in the near future. One of the things questions I'm going to have for you is my beautiful little whale fin that I got from Peggy, from Peggy's Plants. She was so kind to send me that, and it wasn't, I didn't ask her for it. She just knew I wanted one, and she took it upon herself to send that to me. I just thought that was such a very, very sweet gesture on her part. And Peggy, if you're watching, thank you so much. She still is alive, but not growing. And I know she's a slow grower, but I think she should have had some growth by now. So I'm going to feature her in that Sansevieria video, so you'll get a chance to see that. And if anybody has any tips that they want to add to that as far as the whale fin, I welcome them with open arms. So, okay, and as far as the care on her, oh, and I should say on the Zebrina, before I get off too far off of this one, as far as the watering goes, she likes to be kept kind of moist. Not wet, but moist. And if you don't, the leaves will dry out. But they will also do this if they're over wet. So it's kind of, it's hard when two opposite reactions or two opposite things can react in the same way. Overwatering, underwatering does the same thing on the edges of the leaves. Now on my other Calatheas, it was a different situation. When they were overwatered, the bottom leaves would tend to turn yellow, and when they were underwatered, the leaves would get crispy, which that made sense to me, and that is pretty much what I went by if I had a problem. So I'm not quite sure with this particular plant, but we'll see as time goes on. But I do know from everything all the research I did on her, it is definitely a moisture-loving plant. You do not want to allow this to dry completely out before watering. They also don't like to be repotted. They like to be root-bound. So she's going to be in this pot for quite some time. And hopefully she's going to grow well for me. I'm a little nervous that she's still so wet. When I dig my hand down in there, that soil is still, maybe it's not as wet as I thought. No, I think it is okay. It is okay. All right, folks, I'm going to give you one last look at my black gold. You know, years ago, I never cared much for these because everybody had them. They used to call all Sansieverias mother-in-law's tongue. And although that term seems to be reserved for the very tall, slender ones now, years ago, that's just what they did. And everybody had one, and they multiplied like crazy. So it was one of those plants that nobody got excited about to receive. But they've come such a long way with the different types of Sansevieria now that, and I guess they're now calling them Dracaena, which those of us that have been around for many years, and it's a really hard thing for me to call this a Dracaena family. I don't care much for Dracaena myself, and I hope I don't offend anybody who's a Dracaena lover, but they just never did anything for me. I purchased one about 2 years ago just because I went out to get a plant. It was the middle of winter. There was a beautiful, beautiful Dracaena marginata, and it was very inexpensive, and there was nothing else there, and I did not want to go home empty-handed. I wanted to have something new to take care of, so I bought it, and it wasn't until probably not even a month later, and I thought, why did I buy this? I don't even like this. So, you know, it didn't bring me pleasure. Every time I watered it, I just shook my head at myself, like, why did I do this? So one day my granddaughter was here, and I said, you wouldn't want this plant, would you? And she was like, oh yeah, I'll take it. So yay, I got it to give it a new home where they were happy to adopt her, and hopefully she's still doing well, but I got it out of my house and made room for something that I really, really love. So that's the story on that one. But anyway, yeah, this plant she is so pretty and so healthy. I can't believe how healthy she is. And her leaves, they feel like hard plastic. It's really, really a nice plant. So I'm going to put her on that table, and then, like I said, I'm going to be bringing you a new video on that, on all of my Sansevieria / Dracaena, whatever, and you're going to get to see my moon glow, which is gorgeous. She is huge, and oh, she's to die for, folks. She brings me so much pleasure, and I walk past her all the time because she's at the end of my hallway on a side table, and oh, she's so pretty. And so that's where she's going, up with her. And then we're going to have to figure out what to do with some of the other stuff that I have on there. I've got, I think, a Haworthia, that's Zebrina Haworthia, I think it's called, that I just can't get to stand up in a pot. It was doing very well, and I repotted it, and ever since then it's been giving me problems. So I'm probably just going to move that off of that table to make some room for her, and we'll see how it goes. But anyway, I hope I brought you some pleasure today. Hope I made somebody smile. And I hope you come back again. Come back for my ping update. That's what most of the people that raise these call them. They just call them pings. So come back for my ping update and the updates on these two to see how they're doing, okay? All right. Well, thank you so much again for coming. I hope that you all have a good day, and whoops, sorry, got distracted there. I hope you all have a great day, and I hope that you all come back. Don't forget to give me a thumbs up if you like my video, and hit the subscribe button, and don't forget to hit that notification bell and hit all, because otherwise it won't let you know when I do a new video, unless you don't want to be at if you don't want us to let you know, then don't hit that, but otherwise you know what to do. Okay. All right. Well, thank you again all for coming. Bye now.